Have you made it to Shadow of the Erdtree's final boss fight and you're sick of seeing this? How about this? Or this? If you answered yes to these questions, then this is the Elden Ring build for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy your time in Min-Maxer's paradise. This is a level 170 build. For attributes, you want to distribute your points as follows: 60 in vigor for survivability, 50 in endurance because the stamina will be very important, 48 in strength to meet the requirement of the shield we'll be using, and dump the rest into dexterity, getting it to at least 50 to 55. The weapon we'll use will have some arcane scaling, so if you have extra points to put there, it won't hurt, but it's not necessary. Here are the Shadow Tree and Revered Spirit Ash blessing levels I had for this build. I completed this boss fight before the 1.013 patch, so if you have your Shadow Tree blessings at 13 or higher, you'll find this build even more effective than I did. We'll be using the Fingerprint Stone Shield. It has a strength requirement of 48, which is why we put those attribute points there. The guard damage stats on this thing are amazing. It negates 100% of physical damage, 79% of lightning damage, and 75% of holy. These are the 3 damage types Radahn will be dishing out in the final battle, so that makes this shield an ideal choice. It also causes madness buildup, but that won't be important for this fight. I only leveled this up to plus 12, and you'll see just how effective it is without even maxing it out later in this video. Now, getting this shield is a bit tricky to say the least. Starting here at the Forsaken Death Site of Grace, you want to go down here and fight Mohg the Omen. Not the Mohg you fought to get to the DLC, but a different one. He should be an easy fight though, as he's weak to physical damage. Once you defeat him, you'll run to the back of the boss arena where there will be an altar. Attack it, and it'll move to reveal this hidden passageway. Take that until you reach these beams, carefully jump down them until you reach this platform where this guy's playing an instrument. But don't attack him, because the calming music's probably the only thing that's going to keep you from rage quitting during this next part. Jump down these coffin platforms you see here, probably dying on the way and having to start over. But take a deep breath, try again, and eventually you'll get here. And the shield will be here at the end for you to pick up. For our weapon, we'll be using the Antspur Rapier. It requires 10 strength and 20 dexterity, and it does decent damage, scaling with strength, dex, and arcane. More importantly, it innately causes scarlet rot buildup. You'll see that this one causes blood loss buildup. You'll find out how to get that shortly. Both of these are vital to our offense in this final battle, and you'll see why later in this video. And we want to level this weapon all the way up to max, plus 25. You can find this weapon by starting at the Shaded Castle Inner Gate side of Grace, and following this path you see here. until you get to a hostile NPC. Defeat them, and you'll get, among other things, the Antspur Rapier. You see, the great thing about using a shield and a rapier in this game is you can guard and attack at the same time. Next, we'll need an Ash of War to get that blood buildup we talked about. To get the one we'll need, we'll start at the freezing lake side of Grace. And head over here where there'll be an invisible scarab. Stand exactly where you see me standing. Make sure you have a high damage weapon that can one-shot it. As you can see, I used the Bloodhound's Fang. Kill the scarab, and you'll receive the Seppuku Ash of War. Now head to any side of Grace and equip it, and we'll choose the Blood Affinity to get the 82 blood loss buildup you see here. So with both the shield and the rapier equipped, we'll stow our shield, press L2 to use the Ash of War. This increases our damage and blood loss buildup for 1 minute. We'll be using the Malformed Dragon set, all the pieces of which can be obtained as follows. Travel to the Beside the Great Bridge site of Grace, head up these steps. You'll find a Draconic Tree Sentinel who will drop this tanky armor set upon defeat. The first talisman we'll need is the Pearl Drake Talisman +3, which reduces non-physical damage by 11%. It can be found in the Shadowlands. Starting at the Storehouse 7th floor side of Grace, follow this path downstairs. Till you reach this lever, pull it, which you'll probably already have done if you made it to the final boss. Travel to the Storehouse 1st floor side of Grace. And head up the stairs. Until you reach this statue, where the Pearl Drake Talisman will be. Second, we'll need the Dragoncrest Great Shield Talisman, which reduces physical damage by 20%. This will help us if we get hit after running out of stamina with our shield. It can be found by heading over to the Drainage Channel side of Grace and following this path. to get to this chest. Make sure to grab the talisman before you die. Next up, we have the Great Shield Talisman, which gives us a 20% reduction to the stamina damage we take when guarding with our shield. Hop over to the Erdtree Gazing Hill Site of Grace. Right over here to this carriage. Jump off Torrent and open this chest to find this talisman. And lastly, the Halic Drake Talisman +2. It increases our holy damage resistance by 17. There is a +3 version called the Golden Braid, but I found this +2 one to be sufficient, as you'll see later in this video. To get it, go to everybody's favorite rune farm, the Palace Approach Ledge Roadside of Grace. Follow this path. Being mindful of these obnoxious crows. And the talisman will be on this corpse right here. For the Flask of Wondrous Physic, we want the Dexterity Knot Crystal tier, which boosts our dexterity by 10, which will increase our weapon's damage. We also want the Green Spill Crystal tier, which increases our max stamina by 15%, so we can tank longer with our shields. To find the Dexterity Knot Crystal tier, begin at the Boil Prawn Shack Site of Grace, and follow this path. And pick it up here. For the Green Spill Crystal tier, start at the Fort Hate Site of Grace, head over here, and pick it up here. If you plan on using spirit summons for this fight, I'd of course go with the Mimic. Now the build works perfectly fine without summons, as the whole point of this build is to draw aggro as much as possible. But if you use summons, you want to get this and fully upgrade it to +10. To get it, start at the Ancestral Wood Site of Grace, jump over here, and follow the route you see here. Use a swordstone key at this statue to open the doorway. Take out the enemy guarding it. Open the chest, and you'll find the infamous Mimic. Now, for the final showdown with Radahn, Consort of Miquella. For narrative reasons, I highly recommend summoning Ansbach and Theolier, assuming you've completed both of their quest lines. But, fair warning, summoning them will increase Radahn's health. The only thing we'll do to buff before the fight is drink our flask of Wondrous Physic. At the start of the fight, Radahn usually does his leap attack. Dodge away from him. The window's pretty forgiving, so hopefully you'll avoid damage better than I did this run. Now, the summoned NPC should draw aggro long enough for you to summon your Mimic, use Seppuku, and heal. Re-equip your shield, guard with it, and start attacking Radahn until you draw aggro. Be sure to do this ASAP because your summons will not survive on their own. Radahn is susceptible to both bleed and scarlet rot, which is why we're using Antspur with Seppuku. As you can see, Radahn's attacks barely do any stamina damage to us. This allows us to attack, but we want to stop attacking when our stamina gets low. Letting our guard down allows us to recover stamina a lot faster, so do that until your stamina is fully recovered, guard again, and get back into the fight. At the start of phase 2, Radahn usually does a large AoE attack dealing holy damage. You can run out of the blast range if you have time to make it, or you can just tank it with your shield like I did here, taking very little damage. Radahn deals a lot more damage in phase 2, so it's even more imperative that you draw aggro quickly. You can block his jump attacks with your shield, taking no health damage and only a small chunk of stamina damage. When he does this meteor attack, start dodge rolling right after the meteors start flying your way. When he hits the ground like this after a combo, dodge roll, because the AoE Holy Blast that follows can bypass your shield if you're not careful. Again, stay in his face and keep his attention while being mindful of your stamina. When he gets down to around 20% health, he'll jump in the air for his big holy meteor attack. Just hold up your shield, stand your ground, and watch this. Laugh off his puny meteor attack. Now, you want to avoid this grab attack he does here. If you get hit with it twice, you die essentially. But if he grabs one of your summons, stand close, and towards the end of this move, but before he fully completes it, he'll be susceptible to your attacks. It's free damage, so take it. And as you can see, Theolier likes being super aggressive, even though he's squishy, which will inevitably result in his demise. Just keep up the offensive until you did it. Radahn slain. So that, fellow Tarnished, was the Boss Slayer build for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. And if you enjoyed what you saw here today, please like, comment, and subscribe to Min-Maxer's Paradise, the place for build guides for your favorite role-playing video games. Thanks for watching. Till next time.